Alright, so I don't know if you guys have tried this diet, the all meat diet. They have all meat. So basically, it doesn't mean it's all meat, but you kind of like base your diet around the meat because the meat is the important thing. So I tried this a long time ago. I tried this. I told people about it way before. It became like, oh, this famous thing. I was just like, why don't if carbs make you fat, then why not stop eating carbs? Like completely. So I started doing that one time, and it worked. And I started doing that shit, whatever. All right, so a lot of people are doing this diet now. They call it whatever the fuck they want to call it. Everyone has their own name for it. But it's basically like the carnivore diet. So basically, you eat nothing but meat, or everything is revolved around meat. I would still eat eggs and dairy and like cheese and yogurt and fruits, vegetables, etc. But it was mainly like I needed to have a big plate of meat all the time. And I needed it to be like fatty meat, like fatty like beef. And so I was getting full, because of the fat in the beef, so and I was enjoying that a lot. It came to the point where I stopped doing it. I was also taking like some supplements, which they were helping a lot. So I was kind of like I was very you know well some other stuff happened, and well, I stopped doing the carnivore diet because I just had to start eating some other stuff. I had to put on a little bit more weight. And then what happened was that you know I started on the carnivore diet. I lost like I used to be 150, and now I was just like in 2 weeks I was like 135 already. So I was basically like, what, I cut all this weight right here. It's just all carbs. I stopped eating them completely. I cut them out. So my body didn't like, oh, it didn't go through like this trauma or anything. There's nothing wrong with my body. It was, everything was good. Um, because I heard about people, they try this carnivore diet and they don't, it doesn't go well for them. But for me, it was like whatever. I mean, I didn't feel anything. My immune system is super strong. You know, thank God. And what else? We're out here. I'm out here at the club. And so one of my recent podcasts, I was talking about how you can go to the club and meet girls, but you can't expect to always have sex, because you're not always gonna find a girl that's just looking for sex, or you might you know you might not, you know. And so you gotta go to specific places for that. You gotta go to like your own place where you find that. Um, and then a lot of guys without experience kind of think like, oh, the world is made out of girls that just want to fuck you and just want to show you their titties and everything, etc. It's like, come on, bro. It's not like that. The world is not like that, and it's not like a porn. You know, you, the club isn't Pornhub.com. Basically. But but anyway, a lot of inexperienced people will come over here and think that it is what it is. It's like the club here. It's cool, huh? Well, yeah, it was like it was crazy. I want to. It's like you come to the club and like girls are watching you, but like, all right, whatever. It's not about that. It's like what happened yesterday. Really, what I want to talk about is like girls. Okay, so it was like the um the club had performers. So it was Quavo and his girlfriend, and her name is Sweetie. So Sweetie and Quavo were performing, and or they were just there. They were just there, and they were at the club. So they were chilling at the club. They showed up. I think they performed a bit. I'm not sure what happened, but I wasn't really into the performance. I was just like uh, with the girls. But anyway, so there was actually more girls than guys there at that date. It was Thursday night too, so you kind of don't expect that on Thursday night. So you're looking for a place to go Thursday nights, and you have nowhere. You have no girls. You have no bitches. You're lonely as fuck. then pull up, to the club right here, um, or look for it, in your clubs. I'm sure they have like Thursday nights, a college night or something like that. There's always something going on at the clubs on Thursdays. Anyway, um, so this girl right here, well, these girls, they're just like, there's more girls than guys, and so I guess the girls want to fight, because I guess you kind of typically see that when there's less guys. I mean, less guys, and then more girls. You see girls fighting, and then if you see if it's opposite, if there's less girls, more guys, then the guys tend to start fighting, and it gets like really tense. So yeah, I felt a lot of tension between the girls, and I had to like stop a few fights, literally a few fights, like two or three, not just one, and so the girls just wanted to fight left and right. Why? Why? It was just kind of like, it was packed with women. Like, that's all I can say. And so, so for some reason, I kind of noticed this, that the girls would kind of like go around you, like kind of like surround you and go to you and dance around you, if they want, and it's like they'll come to you. So you literally could just stand at the club, and if you look fresh and you're dancing, you got your drink, everything. If you're someone that girls want to dance around you, then they dance around you, and they go up to you, and they dance with you, and they dance on you. You might not even be asking for it. Whereas someone with less experience, like I remember, when I was really young, I went to the same clubs, the same clubs where I pull up to now, but it was my first time. It was a college night, it was around people my age. I just didn't know what to do. I remember I just didn't know what the fuck was going on, and it was so funny because it was like I was like a kid, it was because I was so naive about the fact that you don't approach women that way. And women are so like, I see how they would, they would like, I would pull up to the club and then like literally ask girls to dance with me, like I would hold out my hand and be like, do you want to dance? And they'll be like, wait, what? It's like, come on, it's like, it's funny, it's funny because it's like, but all right, so I would completely. Okay, so let me just tell you this. I completely thought that that was stupid, because I used to do that, So I was like, what? This shit is retarded, I was like, so one of my friends comes, and we're at the club, now, currently at this time, and we're at the club, and he starts doing the same thing, and girls start like doing the same thing to him, saying no, saying no. I was trying to like explain to him, like, you don't really go up to them and ask them to dance, you just kind of like dance with them, or they dance on you, it's like you don't go asking. I don't know how to explain it, but like, you just let things happen. I just couldn't explain all that at that moment, and so that was just what was going on, currently at the club, what I noticed though is that girls will come and dance on you, if they want to dance with you, if they want to dance on you. So back then, I didn't really dress that good, I didn't really like have everything going on, so it's kind of different, and you see someone like me now and dressed the way I'm dressed, looking how I look, and I'm I guess you could say I have style, and I might not have all the style, but I know that I have enough style, and it's or maybe like I know people look up to me, so I feel that gives me a little bit of confidence, around like social situations or places where I feel like I am able to have a conversation with every single person, if not everyone at the same time, and kind of like have a conversation with everyone, so and so yeah, that kind of like so one thing I did learn too in psychology class was well, how the human brain works, kind of like, let's say you're fearful of something, let's say you're angry, it blocks all all the fear, you know. So anger kind of like blocks fear in a way, you know, in an unexplainable way, but it's just science, and it's just uh, physiology. It's just your body, your brain, the way it does it. So it's kind of like a mathematical equation. You know, you can say that uh, anger cancels out fear. You know, so one thing I really would get angry at is, you know, people misunderstanding me and not knowing what I'm saying. You know, so I would, you know, obviously correct that really fast. You know, so that's something that I feel, you know, going into a social situation, kind of like, you know, you go into a place where, you know, especially if you don't have friends with you, or, you know, if you don't have anybody around you, you don't feel safe with the people around you, you kind of feel alone, you know, you feel like there's no one with you helping you. There's no one around you, you know, there's no one like in your circle taking care of you, so what are you going to do? Um, I'm in that situation a lot, you know, because I go out a lot by myself. You know, you know, my friends are literally everywhere that I go, but I kind of like choose to go on my own. You know, and every time, you know, let's say I have to go to work, you know, I'd rather go instead of carpooling with someone. I'd rather go on my own. You know, because I have my own things to do. You know, kind of like I have my own podcast to do, and I have my own like music to make. I have everything, you know, to practice on my own. And you know, I had to be on my own literally, even if I don't want to. You know, but in a certain situation where you have to be around people, you know, and you have to be like let's say at a party, you know, or you go to the club, you know, you're around everyone there, you know, at the club you're around everyone. So what are you gonna do? You know, you gotta socialize yourself to be able to go into those situations, because you know it's literally like our brains are, you know, manufactured, designed to work, to live in a certain time where, you know, people got killed for speaking out. People, you know, lived with kings. You know, kings were, you know, the top ruler. You know, and it was like everyone was like a slave. Kind of like your brain is still used to that. You know, even if you live in a socialized society setting. You know, and then you still to this day you find people living in those situations and not they're living at home, because it's just the human brain hasn't adapted to live to these certain rules in these societies that we live in today. You know, and it's kind of like a big frustration with the conscious people and the unconscious people, you know. And so consciousness, like I said, is a big characteristic trait of humans, you know, and one of the big top 5. And so, you know, uh, well, one thing about conscious people, you know, let's say, all right, if you want to see if you're conscious, you know, let's see how, like I made a video and it said how to test your consciousness, you know. So you want to test how conscious you are. You generally, like I said in that video, you go and you find all the things that you know that are wrong with you and you fix them, because you're voluntarily doing it, you know, because you know that it's gonna make you a better person, and you actually get to do them. You know, you don't just say, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You actually do it. And there's people that are like that, you know. They're conscious about everything, you know, everything. You know, my shoes are untied, my shirt has a stain, something, whatever. There's always consciousness, you know. And then the people that are unconscious, they're always thinking. They always tell them, you know, why are you so worried about that? Why? It's just like, it's like not being able to understand each other, you know. So that's something to think about right there. So go check out my other videos. You know, thanks for listening to this podcast. You know, if you like this podcast, you know, leave a comment or a like and subscribe to me, so that you know you get every notification from me. You know, to be honest. And well, you know, thanks for listening.